I always say that we at Eminent Financial, we help individuals and families take the first step on the property ladder to ensure your financial foundations are solid, allowing you to face the future with confidence and optimism. Now, many times when I'm going around London, I see so many buildings being erected, and I'm like, oh gosh, there's so much construction going on. However, one thing I always point out is that if the foundation of a building is not right, what happens? The building will come down. So it's so important that we get our foundation right in everything, because once you build on top, if, as I said, if foundation is not right, it will affect everything else. Now, what is the idea of home? When you hear the word home, what does that mean to you? What image comes up within you? So for me, a beautiful home is essential to one's sense of fulfillment and security, and owning your own property will make a big difference to your self-confidence. So there are three major steps we follow, and that is we look at your goals and requirements, our recommendations, we make recommendations, and then you have the application process. Now, some people might not know what a mortgage is, so I'll just simply give the definition first of all of what a mortgage is, just to start from the very beginning. So a mortgage is an arrangement where an asset is used by the lender as security for a loan. And in this case, the house purchase, and the loan is secured on a property through a legal charge. A property is not the only asset that can be mortgaged. You have other assets such as shares or portfolios, which can also be mortgaged too. And then you also have mortgage-backed loans, which may also be used for other purposes than property. So, now, buying your first home can be a very exciting time. And at Eminent Financial, we can help you to navigate the world of mortgages and making sure you get the deal that is most suitable for you. So we help in recommending an appropriate deal for you based on interest rate, loan period, repayment method, and then we also help you decide which type of mortgage is best for you, for your objectives, be it fixed, variable, tracker, offset, or something else entirely. And I always say one size does not fit all, because everybody, if you look at your hands, all of you look at your hands, you have 10 fingers. All your fingers, everything is not equal. So you can see your fingers are not equal. And that's what I always say with my clients. Everybody has their own special circumstances, their own needs, their own objectives, and most importantly, their own budget. So everything is based around you and what you can comfortably afford, and yeah, your circumstances. So everything's is individual. Now, buying a property. So although it can be very exciting getting on the property ladder and getting your first home, it can also feel very daunting, especially because it's a big financial decision. So when you are buying your first home, so you have a lot of things to think about, but this is where I come in and I help you with the whole experience and make sure you get the deal that is most suitable for you. And I'm here to guide you through the whole process, in fact, every step of the way. So everything from if you're just buying your first home, or if you're remortgaging, or buy to let. Now, if you can all look at this particular slide, as I said, I always start with the foundation to everything. And when you understand what I mean by this, I will ask a question, and then if you can put in the chat, you can see there's a white goose and a golden egg. Which would you protect first, or which will you take? Which will you protect? Is it the goose or the golden egg? So you can type it into the chat. If it's the goose or the golden egg. So I would say it's actually the white, in fact, it's not a goose, I think it's a duck. It's either a goose or a duck. So it's the white duck, I would say you take. You know why? Because it's the white duck that lays the golden egg. If you take the golden egg, once it's cracked, it's gone, or it gets lost, that's it. But the goose is what you protect. Now, I always say you can liken it to ourselves. We are the asset, not any of your physical things. When I ask some of my clients, what would you say your greatest asset is? They say, oh, my properties or my car or my jewelry. No, your greatest asset is actually yourself. Because if you don't work, nothing else works. It affects everything else. So you have to focus on yourself first. You have to protect yourself first. For example, you know, I'm sure most of us have been on a plane journey before. When they do is it the emergency steps, procedures, what do they always say? You need to wear your jacket. Don't help your children. Don't help your spouse. Don't help anybody else. Wear your jacket first. Then you are able to help other people. And the point I'm trying to make is that we all want to continue to live a life of significance. Nobody wants to depend on any government, friends, or family to continue to live a life of significance. So we need to focus on ourselves first and protect ourselves first. And just let me move this in. As you're aware of the current crisis, no one is sure about tomorrow because we're all filled with a lot of uncertainties. So my specialty as a protection advisor is to help individuals and families secure their financial future with confidence in the event of unforeseen personal circumstances by securing the right protection cover to protect your loved ones and yourself in the event of illness or accident or untimely death. Now, as part of the mortgage process, one very, very important step is financial protection. Because as I said, if the foundation is not good, it affects everything else. So as I said, your greatest asset is not material things. Your greatest asset is actually yourself and your continued ability to earn an income. So that is first. It comes first. I'll give you a very simple example. You have a headache or you have stomach ache. You can't even go to the kitchen to cook any food or have your shower to go to work. So if you are not okay, it affects everything else. So your greatest asset is yourself. You protect yourself first. Then if you have family, like children or spouse, then yeah, that comes next. And then your home, because your home is your shelter, it's your shell. And all over the world, irrespective of what country you're in, everybody, when they go out in the morning or they come back home, there's always somewhere they go to, even if it's not a building, but it's still, it could be a tent, whatever it might be, you still go somewhere in the evening to go and, yeah, rest. Now, as I said, there are 3 steps in the mortgage process, 3 main steps. And the first step, stage 1, is we establish your goals and aspiration for property ownership. So normally what I do is I have a Zoom meeting with my clients. Before COVID, I used to visit clients in the comfort of their home. Because of COVID and all, we always have Zoom meetings now, except the client wishes for me to come over to their home, and I go through the whole process, explain the terms and conditions. And with mortgage, it's an ongoing process. It's not a 1-week thing. It can take up to 2 months or 3 months. Then stage 2, I make recommendations. So we gather relevant personal and financial information to establish your requirements for the mortgage. And then stage 3 is the application process. So we oversee your application by liaising with lenders to help make sure your application progresses smoothly. Now, I have access to a competitive panel of lenders. In fact, I work in partnership with over 200 banks. Some of them, you know them, all the high street banks from Barclays, Santander, HSBC, the Coventry, Virgin Money. And then we also have specialist packages for people that's situations whereby it's very difficult for them to get a mortgage. I always say there's a solution for everyone. Each bank has its own criteria. So whatever the issue might be, I always say there's a solution for everyone. And then now I'll go a bit technical, but I'll still keep it quite basic. So how much you borrow depends on 3 points: your income, your spending commitments, then how much you can put towards a deposit. So as a mortgage advisor, I can guide you through the details to help you understand your choices from the beginning. So then we look into more detail on the value of your new property and your credit score based on your credit history. And basically, the higher the score, the more likely you'll be accepted for a mortgage or perhaps even a better rate. Sometimes I also get a question on how much do I need as a deposit? So the first thing you should do, anytime you have time, just go on the internet, start looking at the property prices in your area you want to live and work and how much you can afford to repay each month. There's so many websites online advertising different properties in different areas, and you can also look at the schools. Like if you have a family, you want to know if your children, if there's schools, good schools in that area. all that you can do online. You don't actually physically have to go anywhere to look at any property, except when you're ready that, okay, yes, this property, I like it. Then you can go to the estate agent or yeah, just actually drive down to the area and see how it is. Then mortgage providers, that's the banks, have a maximum loan to value, that's LTV, that they're prepared to offer. And this basically is the maximum amount you can take out as a percentage of the property value. So for example, if the property value is 200,000 and you're offered a mortgage of 170,000, your loan to value is 85%, and you will need a deposit of 30,000. Which is about 15%. And then a higher LTV ratio means more risk for the provider. So they may charge you a higher interest rate and fees. So, but all this I will explain once, if I have a one-to-one with you, I'll go into more detail to look at your circumstances and your needs and requirements. Then I'm sure many of you have heard also the concept about remortgaging. So remortgaging is arranging a new deal that could save you money and give you more flexibility. So reasons why some people remortgage. So your current deal is about to end. So let's say you're on a fixed rate, and let's say you're on 5-year term or 2-year term, you need to change it. You need to, otherwise, if you don't, the provider will put you on their standard variable rate, which is much, much higher. And yes, it's higher than other deals. And then also, you might also want to remortgage because you want a better rate. You might be on a particular rate now and there's something better out there. As I said, I have access to different banks, so I'm able to source from different banks what is the best solution for you. And then also your home value might have increased, so you might want to remortgage because of that as well. Or you might want to pay your mortgage off quicker, and then also you might also want to borrow more money. So all that comes under remortgaging. Then this is it's basic, it's a bit more, but I've kind of compressed the main points. So the whole mortgage application process. So first of all, we'll get a mortgage in principle. What does that mean? That means when we have our initial meeting, I'll do a fact find, and from there I understand how much your income is, and we check basically affordability with the bank to see really how much loan will they give to you. And that depends on different things. So your incoming, and most importantly, also your outgoing. So some people say, oh, I'm on a very high income, maybe I get 70 or 80,000 pounds, 80,000 pounds a year. But if your expenses, your outgoings are like 60,000 pounds and you're just left with 20,000 pounds, no, that doesn't mean, how will I say, there isn't a balance. Some might be just on 30,000 pounds a year, but what they have left at the end of the month is what is important. It's not so much about how big your income is, how much really do you have left at the end of the month. Why? Because the bank wants to understand is really, are you able to meet up your monthly mortgage payments? Because I'm sure you're aware, most banks, if you don't meet up their mortgage payments, they're very fast to repossess your home. And then next, once I get a mortgage in principle for you, so you have an idea really how much the property value will be that you can afford for your circumstances, then you can go out and start looking at properties. As I said, you can go online to view different properties. If you now want to physically go in, you found something like, you can go in physically. Then we apply for the mortgage, that is the loan. And then we also wait for your mortgage valuation, which shouldn't take too long. And the next step, you receive your mortgage offer, and then you have exchange of contracts, and then completion. What I will do in the chat, I'm going to put a link in and my details, and there, but you can click on the link, and later on, when you click on the link, you can book an appointment with me if you want to discuss further at your own time and convenience. And then, yes, some people might just want a change of scene. So you might want to just move because of moving sake, you want a totally new area to live in. So we have access to a great range of attractive mortgage deals also for home movers. And I just want to point out here, you would have noticed it on all the slides, it's mandatory because we're highly regulated by the FCA, that's the Financial Conduct Authority. So just for me to state to all of you that your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up with the repayments on your mortgage. So it's very important to know that. And yes, now Some people say, okay, I want to go on the property ladder, I want to get a mortgage. And I always say, please come to me from much earlier on. Let's say, some people say, oh, they're not ready till next year. Fine, but let's start the discussion. You know why? Because what I do is I prepare you. I make you understand what you shouldn't and should not do. Because it's not just about, oh, filling an application and get a loan. No, you need to do a lot of preparation beforehand, because what I don't do and what I don't want is that when we apply for the banks to say no, it has not happened, it won't happen. I want to make sure everything is prepared properly before we apply. So in the preparation, if you want to step on the property ladder, you basically want to get your mortgage, the first thing is, one of the major things is, don't apply for any loan. Because in basic terms, the more loans you have, or rather the more your outgoings, the banks will frown on it, because that means you have so many expenses, you have so many other commitments, and they will wonder, okay, if you have so much money going out, what money is left for you to meet your monthly mortgage payment? So in preparation to get a loan from the bank, don't take any other loan from any other bank. Again, don't make any big job change, because the banks also want to look at consistency, especially closer to the time you want to apply for a mortgage. So one of the things we'll be asking for, or rather I'll be asking for, is your latest 3 months bank statement and 3 months pay slip. So ideally, they want to see consistency, because a mortgage is a very, very big thing. You have to, on a monthly basis, you're paying, just like rent, and it is long term, and I want to make sure that, yes, you're someone that is viable. And then the third point is, don't have unexplained fluctuation on your bank statement. So for example, 1 week you have 3,000 going out, another week you have 2,000 going out, and at the same time also money coming in, because everything will be questioned. I will question everything first. So when I ask for your bank statements, I will look through everything. Anything that looks unusual, I will ask you, because once we apply and upload your bank statement to the bank, they will go through everything and I'll be questioned, what are all these things? So I always say, be very, very clear with me. I need to know the whole picture so I understand exactly how we're going to go forward. Another thing is closing a credit card, which could hurt your credit score. Some people think that, okay, this card that, oh, maybe £4,000, let me quickly pay it off. No, don't just pay it off. Still do it in installments, because it shows consistency. And then the most important thing is, don't try to hide financial bruises. So everything from your past, like I will ask for your credit, not just your, it's not even, I won't be asking just for your credit score, it's actually your credit report, because your credit report will show everything. So everything that's happened in the past 7 years or 3 years where you've been living. And so I've had clients before say, oh, everything is good, my credit score is good. But when I now look through the report, I see maybe it might be just something simple like a water bill or missed payment. And we've had situation before whereby maybe if you have had relatives living in the house and maybe they've used your name or done something or not paid something, it has an effect on your credit score, especially if you've been paying rent for that particular place. And then last but not the least, basically, it's everything I've been saying, don't go in unprepared. So I always say, if you're thinking of stepping on the property ladder, getting a mortgage as a loan, speak to me as soon as possible so we can start preparing all the documents. And so when you're fully ready, yeah, it's just smooth sailing. Then I would just touch on briefly on buy-to-let. I'm sure most of you have heard that term, buy-to-let. What is buy-to-let? So we work together so that your property investments make good financial sense. So investing in property can be an attractive financial option. So whether it's income to support you through retirement tax efficiently, or an investment at any point in your life, or a simple way to cover the cost of the property you're not ready to sell, because you might have a property, but you're not ready to sell it. You've gotten another place. You don't want to leave it empty. You have the option of renting it out, but there are regulations to it. And then there are many good reasons why a buy-to-let mortgage, yeah, will be right for you. And now another thing is, there are a lot of costs. Some are small, some are big. So the cost of moving. When you're thinking of buying your first home, there are a lot of extra costs. I would like extra costs to understand and plan for your budgeting. So first of all, you also have stamp duty, you have valuation and survey, you have conveyancing, you have removal fees. Now, many people forget about removal fees. So the mere fact, let's say you're moving from one home to, or rather one property to another, you have to hire a van, you have to pay the driver, you have to package all the things. All that is still, it's time consuming, because for me, time is money. Time to me is the most precious thing. So time for me is money. So that takes time, packing everything, uploading on the van, taking it to the new property. Well, as I said before, don't worry, everything adds up. We look at your expenses so you can work out your budget. And then as well as taking you through the mortgage options, we can also help you understand the details and introduce you to our other service like conveyancing and surveying. Now, a bit of time for reflection. So I want all of you to really, really reflect. I'm going to ask you a question. And afterwards, you will see how it is interlinked with getting a property and basically protecting the property as well. How many people do you know that have passed on quietly and peacefully? So this is a very black and white question. I just want you to reflect. Whenever you hear of someone that's passed on, like for myself, when I hear someone has passed on, I'll say, oh, what happened? And really, most of the time, what do you hear? Oh, he was ill or she was ill. Hardly nowadays do you hear people that, oh, they passed on quietly, they passed on peacefully, which for me is the ideal scenario. But yeah, it's a situation of things now. So you hardly get people that pass on quietly and peacefully. Now, you've been wondering why I'm asking that question. So I always hear a lot of people say, it won't happen to me, it won't happen to me, but it can. And if we realize that before one passes on, a lot of people become critically ill, then I always say it is so important to have some form of critical illness protection so that in the event you do get diagnosed with some form of critical illness, at least you have money coming in, a lump sum that will continue to meet all your outgoings. You can use it to pay off your mortgage, all your expenses, or maybe you want medical adaptations done to your house, or you might want to go private medical, or yes, it's the whole idea is to have that peace of mind and confidence that should you become critically ill, at least you have something in place. So as I said, a lot of people say it won't happen to me. Just 1 second, gone too fast. Yeah, but according to statistics, and that's the Macmillan Cancer Support Center, they say 1 in 70 stroke patients lose their home. 1 in 9 self-employed heart attack patients can lose their home. And self-employed is also business owners. So when you're a business owner, really everything is on you. You don't get any support as such, especially when it comes to sick pay benefits. If you don't work, nothing, there's no money coming in. Then 1 in 4 cancer patients aged 35 to 44 years lose their home. And 1 in 6 diabetic patients struggle with mortgage or rent. And finally, 3, which is really bad, 3 in 10 cancer patients with children lose their home. So why I'm highlighting all this is the term, I don't know if many of you, some of you have heard of it, it's called mortgage protection. So there's one thing getting a loan from the bank, but you also need to protect that loan. So God forbid, if anything should happen, at least you know your mortgage is paid off, either through if you pass on, or if you're diagnosed with some form of critical illness. So who needs protecting? There are 4 major categories. It could just be you yourself, and I always say me, myself, and I, or it could be you and your partner, or it could be your family, including children, or maybe the children have grown and flown from the nest. So I always say you need to have a backup plan. And protection policies are like long-term investments. So you need life cover to pay off a mortgage in the event of death, because I always say as a mother, I don't want to leave the burden to my children, that if I should pass on, I don't want them having the burden of paying off the mortgage. And then pay off a mortgage in the event of serious ill health. As I was pointed out before, most people before they pass on, what happens? They become ill. So that's why I would say have some form of critical illness protection in place so that if it does happen, at least you have money coming in, and it's always a lump sum. And then protect your income in the event of long-term sickness, and that is income protection. And that is actually the basis of all financial planning, income protection. Why? Because once you have your monthly income coming, basically once you've secured your income, at least that goes for paying out all your, it covers all your expenses. So your rent, your gas bill, your electricity, your food, your travel costs. That income protection replaces literally your salary, or if you're a business owner, the income you make on a monthly basis. And then you also have private medical health care, which I will go into detail. I won't go into detail now. Then another question asked my clients, a lot of these protection covers come with loads of optional benefits at no extra cost, and is to enhance your protection plan. So some of my clients, or prospective clients, when I meet them first, I'll say, oh, what cover do you have in place? They'll be like, oh, we have everything. And then I ask them some specific questions, like, for example, is it in trust? And they're like, what is trust? And I always say, if you have a protection plan and it's not in trust, they're not going to pay. Why? Because first of all, you have inheritance tax, and you want to avoid inheritance tax. So it's so important to put your protection plan, which I do everything in at once in trust. And then you want to make sure the money goes to who you specify you want it to go to. So let's say your beneficiaries or your spouse, your partner. So that's what a trust, that's one of the main things the trust does, and it pays out very quickly. Yeah. So that's one of the major things about having a protection plan. Is it in trust? Then other questions are asked, does your insurance give you access to private medical healthcare specialists? Do you get free yearly health checks? Do you get 25% discount on gyms? Or do you get free sessions with a nutritionist? Do you get online doctor surveys? And the list goes on. There's so many other extra benefits. So it's not just about having a protection plan. You get other, I call them living benefits, to make you enjoy your everyday life. Yeah. And as I said, I'll put my contact details in the chat box afterwards, and there will be a link as well, which you can click on. So whether you have insurance or not, someone will have to pay. Sickness, accident, disability, or death. The question is who? Is it your family or the insurance company? So it's so important as you're starting out, your foundation, you protect it, you secure your financial future just in the event of unexpected, so that you can continue your journey of significance. So when you have your mortgage, if anything should happen, you have life cover or critical illness to cover the mortgage. If you're unable to walk, and you remember I said the banks are very, very fast as repossessing your home. So if you're unable to go to work, you need to have income coming in, and you get that through your income protection. And with that, you can continue meeting your monthly mortgage payments. And then I like to keep very positive. I believe anybody that wants to step on the property ladder, I would tell you already, congratulations on your new home.
In this time, we handle tougher stressing. In this time, we should all be investing. Getting knowledge should never be rejected. Every week, did you get the message? Get your tickets today, it don't take a second. Every Thursday, get 7. It's time to make this earth into heaven. So don't need to worry, there's a blessing. No need for second guessing, it's good spiritual injection. It's a spiritual.